Alright guys, so it's been a bit of a slower news week in the gaming world. Hopefully some of my fellow gamers have been able to get their Black Friday dreams come true with being able to pick up a PS5 or Xbox, but I digress. Today I'm going to be talking some Spider-Man Miles Morales, as I finally got my hands on it. But first I want to talk a little bit about my thoughts on this year's Game Awards and Game of the Year. We are finally entering that, final month of 2020, and like I said at the beginning of the show, gaming has really gotten me through this year. After all, the pandemic gave me an opportunity to play more games than ever, and those of you who've been watching my content have gotten to join me on this ride throughout the year. As far as gaming awards go, it seems that the Game Awards is the go-to for the industry. And they finally put out their big category, which is the Game of the Year. For Game of the Year, this year, they have Doom Eternal, Final Fantasy VII Remake, Ghost of Tsushima, Hades, Animal Crossing, and The Last of Us Part 2. For those of you who have been with us for a while, I think you know what game I'm rooting for. I'm in this category already, but for me, Sucker Punch put out an experience I am still gushing over to this day, and that's Ghost of Tsushima. Simply one of my favorite single-player experiences of probably the last 10 years, I think. But I am not 100% convinced that it will be chosen. This field in general is chock full of very diverse gaming experiences this year. Last of Us had incredible performances and challenged the player with its story. Fan reaction felt a little 50-50 though. You either hated it or loved it. Personally, it was a very entertaining story, but I wasn't convinced it made for the best game experience, especially with a lack of choice that seemed to be so obvious to put in at its ending. I think giving the player an opportunity to make their own moral decision would have easily made a ton of people a lot happier with it. Doom Eternal, another shining beacon in this list, was very good, but I'm not sure it left the lasting impression that Doom, the first Doom, itself did. The main complaint I hear from other players is that the platforming elements really bogged down the game. Animal Crossing, while really a fantastic social game, I think it kind of lacks what most of the rest of the games kind of have, which is an unforgettable story experience. What it does have over the others is it has this endless replayability. I think I know like 5 people off the top of my head that value their Animal Crossing world more than their actual day-to-day. So while I feel it's earned its spot, I'm not convinced it's a full winner just yet for Game of the Year. Hades and Final Fantasy are both games I haven't gotten into just yet, but what I can say is I understand the appeal. Hades is getting acclaim across the board from players around the world, and I've actually just recently started to hear more about it on my end. Looking at the trailers and stuff like that, I see the concept. I think it's really cool. I've never been a huge top-down game player, but I mean, every once in a while I'll pick one up and check it out, so maybe I'll check out Hades as well. Final Fantasy is another game that I've just never really been all that into. It didn't win me over as I was a kid, so I don't have that nostalgia factor for it and stuff like that. But what I did see from Final Fantasy VII's remake trailers and gameplay videos and stuff like that, it really seemed like they remastered it in a way that is on a whole nother level of remasters. Something that I can, if I could compare it to anything, I would imagine, it's how I feel about, the new Resident Evil remakes and stuff like that. While I do understand that game is on a different scale completely than fucking Resident Evil, I would say, the amount of love that went into that experience was really apparent. And from what I was able to see because of that, made me more interested in the game. And yeah, overall, I think this year holds some of the strongest candidates, and even an even playing field we've seen in a while as far as Game of the Year goes. And while I'm personally, voting for Ghost of Tsushima, I would not be surprised if any of these other game options won. But yeah, to swing on over to some Spider-Man Miles Morales, for starters, I want to say, I'm currently playing it on PS4, and no, I'm not talking PS4 Pro or anything like that. I'm talking release day PS4. So, my thing is on the edge of death any day now. But for whatever reason, this game is working fucking flawlessly for me. I'm pretty impressed on how it's working. And that's not, this seems to go against what most players are saying about the game, because I'm not running into these bugs. I was originally going to stay away because, I was pretty much sold by the marketings telling me that, this game should only be played on a PS5. But in actuality, the only thing that really seems to feel missing are the upgraded lighting effects and, the possible load times, though I haven't really run into any actual load screens while I'm in the game other than when booting it up. I've seen, some glitch videos online from other players stating the game is just poorly optimized for the PS4.
Oh, we're falling through the floor! We're glitched the game! We glitched the game!
But in my, near 4 hours of play, so far I haven't had like a single issue with the game. Insomniac's Miles is honestly just a good time. I've caught myself smiling through most of it. I still have, more to go, of course, but I'm not having those big buggy moments on my end. So far so good. Listeners, you can catch me playing Spider-Man Miles Morales this weekend on Twitch. Come join the chats as I play live, of course. I'm also planning on continuing with Watch Dogs and Witcher 3, so for those of you still catching this on the YouTube version, of course, uploads are going to be coming back more daily. Just had a slower week because, holiday season, it gets busy. All right, well, let's move on to some wrestling. This week we're reviewing Survivor Series.
Hey, this is Christian.
Hey, this is Damon.
And this is the Amazing Nerd Show.
New episodes and live streams weekly.